Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real today. When a woman truly touches a man's heart, it don't look like the movies, it don't look like social media, and it sure don't look like that tough guy act he walks around with. See, a man might talk big, act bold, walk heavy, but the heart, that's the softest, quietest place he got. And only a special kind of woman can reach it. When a woman truly touches a man's heart, the very first sign you'll notice is that he lets his guard down and shows you the real him. Now, people say this casually like it's easy, but for a man, dropping that emotional armor is one of the hardest things he'll ever do. Men grow up being told to be tough, don't cry, don't show weakness, don't let anybody get too close. So we build walls, big ones, and we hide every vulnerable part of ourselves behind them. But when the right woman comes along, something shifts inside. She doesn't push her way in, she inspires him to open the door on his own. And that moment, that quiet moment when a man decides it's safe to reveal who he really is, that's the moment you've touched his heart. He starts trusting you with pieces of himself he doesn't give to the world. He tells you about his fears without joking them away. He shares his past without trying to make it sound perfect. He lets you see the parts of him that hurt, the parts he's embarrassed about, the parts he's been carrying around for years. And it's not because he suddenly became emotional. It's because he feels emotionally safe with you. When a man's heart is touched, he wants you to know him, not the version he shows everybody else, but the real, unfiltered man underneath. You'll notice his tone changes when he talks to you. It gets softer, more honest, more present. He doesn't hide behind sarcasm or bravado. He doesn't pretend he's got everything figured out. Instead, he starts speaking to you in a way that says, I trust you with my truth. And that's rare for a man. He may show vulnerability in moments when he's tired or overwhelmed. He might tell you about a childhood memory he never speaks of. He may open up about feeling pressure, fear of failure, or even the insecurities he never admits out loud. And he's not doing it for sympathy. He's doing it because he feels understood by you in a way he doesn't feel with anyone else. A man doesn't let his guard down for a woman he doesn't value. He doesn't share deep emotions with someone temporary. He doesn't expose his inner world unless he believes you're someone who won't weaponize his feelings, judge him, or walk away when you see the vulnerable pieces. You touched his heart when he stops performing and starts existing comfortably around you. He relaxes. He breathes easier. He feels like he can just be. And when a man arrives at that level of ease with a woman, he starts letting her see everything, not to push her away, but to pull her closer. Because once you've reached that part of a man, you've touched something in him that most people never do. When a woman truly touches a man's heart, one of the strongest signs is that he listens with intention, not impatience. See, any man can hear words. Hearing is automatic, but listening, real listening, requires effort, presence, and emotional involvement. Men don't give that level of attention unless the woman standing in front of them matters deeply. When a man has genuine feelings for you, something changes in the way he listens. He's not just waiting for his turn to speak. He's not distracted, scrolling on his phone or giving half answers to move the conversation along. He listens like your voice carries weight, like your thoughts deserve space, and like your emotions are worth understanding. He listens because he cares about how you feel, not just what you're saying. You'll notice he begins to pick up on the little things, your favorite drink, the way your mood changes, the things that stress you out, and even the things you don't say out loud. Men are often seen as forgetful or uninterested, but the truth is men remember what matters to them. If he remembers your small details, it's because you occupy a place in his heart that no one else does. He also starts asking questions, not to interrogate, but to know you better. A man who is emotionally touched wants to understand how you think, what you believe, what shaped you, what you dream about, and what scares you. He becomes curious, and that curiosity isn't shallow. It's rooted in emotional investment. He listens not just for information, but for connection. And as he listens, he adjusts. If something bothers you, he tries to avoid repeating it. If something makes you happy, he does it more. If something hurts you, he becomes mindful. That's because listening for a man who cares becomes a guidebook for how to love you better. When you talk, he doesn't rush you. He doesn't make you feel unheard. He gives you the space to express yourself fully. And even if he's tired, stressed, or going through something of his own, he will still make the effort to tune in, because emotional connection doesn't disappear when life gets busy. A man who listens with intention is a man who is letting you into his inner world. You become part of his decision-making, part of his reflections, part of his emotional landscape. Your words echo in his mind long after the conversation ends. He'll think about what you said while driving, while working, while sitting alone. It stays with him because you stayed with him. And perhaps the most powerful sign of all is this: when he listens to you, he becomes better. Your presence influences his growth, your voice impacts his choices, and your thoughts shape his path. That only happens when a woman has touched a man deeper than surface level, because to a man whose heart has been moved, listening is not a task, it's a privilege. When a woman has truly touched a man's heart, one of the clearest signs is that he begins to protect your feelings even when he's hurt himself. This isn't something men do lightly. Most men, when upset or frustrated, react first and think later. But when his heart is involved, he pauses, he becomes careful, he becomes gentle in moments when he used to be sharp. That shift is not accidental, it's emotional respect. Even if he's angry or disappointed, he watches his tone around you. He chooses his words instead of throwing them like weapons. He doesn't want to say something he can't take back, because the idea of being the reason you feel pain bothers him more than whatever argument is happening. When a man cares deeply, your hurt hits him harder than his own. He becomes protective not just of you, but of the connection he has with you. He'll walk away to cool down rather than escalate things. He'll take a breath before responding. He might even choose to stay quiet because he knows silence is better than saying something that could wound you. That level of emotional discipline doesn't come naturally. It comes from love. You may notice he apologizes differently too, not defensive, not dismissive. His apologies sound sincere, thoughtful, and rooted in awareness. He acknowledges the impact, not just the event. Because to him, your emotions matter, and causing you pain feels like failure. Even when he feels wronged or misunderstood, he still worries about how you feel. He checks in with you. He tries to reassure you. He wants to know if you're okay. And that's because in his heart, you're not just another person, you're someone whose emotional world he feels responsible for. Men are taught to be providers and protectors, but emotional protection is the highest form of care. When he shields your heart the way he would shield his own, that's when you know you've reached a place few people ever reach with him. He starts thinking before acting, not because he's scared of you, but because he values you. He avoids unnecessary arguments. He avoids harshness. He avoids anything that might leave a scar on your heart. And if he ever does slip up, you'll see regret on his face. Not because he fears losing you, but because he hates the idea that he let you down. A man who has been touched deeply wants to be your safe space. He wants your emotional experience with him to be softer, calmer, and more secure than anything you've known. He wants you to feel protected not just physically, but emotionally. And that kind of protection doesn't come from obligation. It comes from affection. When he guards your feelings with his actions, his tone, his discipline, and his patience, that is a man whose heart has been moved by you. That is a man who loves with intention. When a woman has truly touched a man's heart, he starts making space for her in his world, his time, his routines, his priorities, and even his future. Men don't give their time freely. They don't rearrange their schedules without reason. They don't consistently show up unless something inside them has shifted. So when a man begins to carve out room for you, not because you ask, but because he wants to, that's a deep emotional sign. You stop being an afterthought and become part of his daily life. He checks in with you not out of obligation, but because he feels connected. You become someone he thinks about when planning his day. If he used to be busy all the time, suddenly he finds pockets of time he never had before. Men don't magically become less busy. They simply prioritize differently. When someone touches their heart, you'll notice he starts inviting you into his world. He wants you to meet the people who matter to him, like his closest friends or family. He wants you to see his passions, his hobbies, the things he works on. He lets you into the spaces that used to be private, not because he wants to show off, but because having you there feels right. When a man's heart is involved, he wants his world and yours to blend slowly and naturally. He wants you to feel included, not left out. He starts being more transparent about his plans. He tells you where he's going, what he's doing, what he's thinking about next, not because you demanded it, but because he wants you to feel connected, valued, and updated. He stops living a life you're kept on the outside of. He also starts thinking long term without fear. He might joke about the future or casually talk about trips you could take someday.